It's Sarah here. Look, I'm going solo today because this is a topic that I had to bring to your attention and I couldn't let it sit for longer because I saw the statistics and I thought that didn't feel right. And then the more research and stuff that I did into it, I thought I have to bring it to you guys. So let's talk today about support worker burnout. I'm not going to give you the LinkedIn crap that you're all used to listening to, that not that self-care, drink water version. No, I'm going to give you the real version and the real version of events and things that have happened in the sector for the last 17 years that I've witnessed, and things that I know as a manager at my times and at my peaks that I could have improved on, but also things that I knew that worked. So at the end of this podcast, I hope you get to come back with a few things that you too can use. And please put it in the comment section if I have missed something that you do to support workers. All right, so we know that support workers go above and beyond. And often they're the ones that burn out the fastest, the quickest. And the saddest part out of all this time is that they're never really thanked for it. All right, let me deep dive into this because I blew my mind. Ready? So across Australia, the disability workforce has one of the highest rates of any sector for turnover. And currently it's showing around like 25% of support workers leave the workforce every year. And some reports are saying that like 60% of our current support worker workforce are thinking about leaving, or they're thinking about other sectors because the burnout conditions are too high for them. So almost 43% of support workers feel burnt out regularly. Let all that information sink in, because we've got a workforce right now that says to me, alarm bells, red flag. So when people talk about having a workforce shortage, it's not just about the people that don't want to do the job. It's too many people are leaving our workforce to support people. So you're probably wondering, what does burnout might look like for support workers? And in the disability sector, it doesn't happen overnight. And I will put my hand on my heart and admit that, yeah, I have suffered some terrible burnout over my career in the disability sector. And one thing that I notice is that we do care really deeply because we're empathetic people that work in support. Support workers, we care so much for the people that we support. We celebrate their wins. We worry about their safety. We sit people through some of the biggest moments of their life, good, but also bad as well. And sometimes we carry the emotions that nobody ever really talks about, and we're not open about it because it's so personal and private to the person that we support. So we talk about, we should talk more about participant grief, whether a participant that we serve has passed away or no longer wanting our services. As a support worker, we should talk about the conflict that the person that we serve has within their families, because it can be quite emotionally draining to support somebody with a family that requires a lot more support. It's really difficult, and I know my period of time. So I have 17 years, so I have seen people when I've entered into a service and watched their health decline drastically, that they pass away. So there is that grief, and this emotion, it builds up. And it does eat at you because there's people that I've served that have passed away, and I think of them fondly, don't get me wrong. But, it hurts because it's just somebody that we've always known and always been around, and for them to pass away, it stings. It's like a part of you. It definitely stings, and it hurts my heart when I think about it. I shouldn't be all like teary and crying about it, but yeah, it does hurt. In the time that I've worked in the sector, I worked a lot in the one-to-one space, supporting people to have support workers come into their home. And I can tell you right now, support workers working in one-to-one spaces sometimes can feel that loneliness and that sense of wanting to be a part of a team and wanting to belong. But when you're one-to-one and you're in one person's house, you can't have that team support worker culture. It's very limited to between you, whether you're a one-to-one independent or with you as a provider, to build some sort of team morale or support, because it doesn't exist in that space. So you might be spending, say, 8 hours at someone's home, and then you might be spending 6 hours driving in the car and the whole weekend in community service. And sometimes there is no team around you, no debrief, no banter between support workers. There's nothing. And it's just you. And that is so emotionally tolling for you. So it's the isolation part is a killer, and I've seen that multiple times, and it's that consistent check-in that you need. Also, weekend works becomes your whole life. So I know a lot of support workers love working those weekends, or they like doing the active nights and the sleepovers. Another thing that I've seen is support workers have always the reliable ones. They're the ones that say yes to the weekends, to the overtime, to extra supports that a person might need until they realize they haven't had a proper weekend or a time off, or they haven't booked their holidays. There were so many times in the service that I had to tell support workers to please take some annual leave. Take it. You've built up this amount, and I understand why people might use their annual leave in different ways, but not having a break or a rest, it's unsafe. Like it is unsafe, and I get that as support workers, we sometimes do that thing. I don't turn up. I'm this person's one-to-one. They don't have any other support workers, or they don't have things in place. There's something that I know that I'm important to this person, and I get that, but nothing like take the time off. Please put your annual leave in, go on a holiday, stay at home, veg out, chill time. It's not worth it. Like, it's not worth your mental health suffering, that sense that you haven't had a break, and your body needs it, and your family too. So, all right, my next thing, apologies, that could be like another podcast in itself. So managers who don't know their stuff, and this one's an icky one for me, and this one sticks. And the reason why it sticks, because it's true. Because I've seen people ask or suggest and at times assertively seen support workers being rostered to support somebody that's like not in their vicinity, like 2 hours away, and it'd be like a 2 hours away to support somebody. The support worker's paying petrol back and forth for a 2-hour support. It's not worth it for the support workers at times. It just really isn't. There's no like that pressuring stuff. As support workers, as your manager, should know at least what suburb this person lives in. You don't need to know their full address and crap like that, but you do need to know where this person's and what they're willing to travel to. But also, as a manager, we also need to know what is that person's best day at work look like, and if we can match that or not. Sometimes we've got people, sometimes you don't. I get that, but as our job and our responsibility for the person that we serve is that the best support workers that turn up are the ones that are the happiest. They're the ones that are willing to do more. And we all know this, right? But we've got to make sure that we know the bare basics of our support workers. Like, are they studying? Are they saving up for that European trip? Are they going away on a holiday? What's going on? Like, what's going on in that way? I feel like this is our responsibility to know the support workers that we are sending in and out of people's houses to work independently, in isolation. It is our duty to know them, to make sure that they are accountable to the people that we serve and provide good quality care as a manager. But also the burnout, because we don't know them. And sometimes you can see the signs of a support worker, not feeling great or disgruntled. And, that's why we got all these fancy CRMs to pick up when somebody has cancelled support or, how much leave they take. There are signs. And you won't know these signs unless you or the manager are keeping up with that person and actually communicating consistently with them, because there's goals that you guys can achieve together. And I find it wild when a ambitious support worker wants more or wants the next step and wants to build their career, and you as a manager don't know that. Like, I think that's something, these questions you can ask, and they're honest people. Support workers are some of the honest people that you'll ever meet. So you want to know why they chose this career. For some people that come into our sector, it's not all about the money. There's this deep sense of satisfaction that they get from serving somebody. And if you don't know your workers, you can't support them. All right, so I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the quiet truth. Most support workers don't enter this sector, like I said before, for money. They come because they want to help people, and they feel joy, and they feel that warm, fuzzy feelings in their heart. They are going to get all fuzzy and warm, but they do. They have this sense of purpose. For people that are in our sector, there's a sense of purpose when we support people. But over time, it kind of it shifts and it changes for support workers, and they start to feel, oh, this is just another day on the tools, another person, a line in my roster. The mentality shifts, another payroll number to them. And that's when the burnout really does start, because they don't see what they began their career of the sense of service and purpose to provide good quality care to now where it just feels like another day on the tools, as our job as managers is to pick that up very quickly. And then, like the burnout, it's not something that happens straight away. It's a slow burn that starts to creep in. All right, so you're probably wondering, I've listened to you, so you seem to know what's your solution at the end of this. Like, all I've heard you so far in this podcast is just complain and rant, and give me a bit more bones, give me more of a sense. I don't want to just complain about this. I want to give you my intake of what I've learned for the 17 years in the sector, what actually works. And here's a few things, and I believe it could make a really massive difference, right? Number one, managers that know their people. And this is our support workers and our NDIS participants or aged care participants in that fact that know them inside out, off by heart. And if you run a service and you manage support workers, you should really know where the suburb they live in, the people that they enjoy providing service to, what their connections are, what's their hobbies, what are their hobbies? Because if you find out what a person that we serve is their hobby and the support worker has the same hobby and they go do the same hobby together, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, it goes a long way. But also like banter, because some of the people that we serve love good banter. So if you can find somebody that is quick-witted and can have that type of banter or enjoy the same music, it goes a long way. But also we want to know that person's goal because, yes, as support workers, there is this income that we get from providing care. But is there a long-term goal? Because I know that we've had support workers in the past that have come in from like uni students, from OTs to speeches to teachers. Fantastic. Bring them in. You know that the long-term goal is that they're not going to be with you forever. They're a support worker for now, for this period of time. It could be 2, it could be 5 years. So to be able to suit them with like people that we serve that are suitable, but also know certain goals, because some people want to do more and, want to get those hands-on experiences, and they prefer to work in SEALs. They prefer to work in groups. They prefer to work one-to-one. Find out why. What is it that they enjoy about working in a certain part of your business? Even employment, why they like working there and what satisfaction does that give them? And in when we talk about this, you don't have to be like we're not in HR. We are in HR, but we're not in HR. I get what you mean. Yeah. It is human relations, and as people, our job is to see where the relationship is and how to move and groove it and how to make a bit more from it. And because when workers feel known, they feel safe. So that means that you know that person, you know the ins and outs, you know that the uni holiday is coming up, you know that Christmas is really important. As a manager, you know that person. So therefore, it makes it easier for a support worker to communicate back to you because you want the information back from the support worker, what is going on in the support worker's life, but also the person that they serve. You want to know that information because it's our job to manage what we got and protect it and look after it. All right, so I'm going to give you solution number 2. You need to build a team, especially in the one-to-one space, because this is very difficult, but you need to find a way to build that team that is all relatable, that information can connect and move and groove and all in between. So they're relying on each other, but they're also working in a team. And there is a good sense. There is that good, warm sense that any person that's ever worked in a high-functioning quality team can tell you how it felt, because when you walk in, you feel like you've got this. I've got today. I can do today. I can support this person in the best way possible. So when you build a space with support workers, they can debrief and talk about what happened today, the bad, the ugly in between, where they can laugh and just go, that moment where you can, because we're support workers, right? We got a dry sense of humor. We can talk openly with people about having a hard day, and it's okay, because when we work in the disability sector and you look at those burnouts, we're not having easy days. This isn't a walk in the park. We are working with people that require some really strong support from us. And when you build a team, we get to learn from each other. Todd gets the benefit of having a team that is present for him. So more than one person wins here. And we know that isolation is a big burnout for our one-to-one. So what are we doing to catch up with them? If you're a manager, what are you doing to catch up with that individual? If you don't have a big team, I get it. but what are you actively doing to catch up with that support worker to talk about what's going on and if they require more support? All right, I'm going to give you solution 3. Recognize when people go above and beyond. That means not everyone gets like a coffee voucher. I get that. Like, it's tight out there, but you need to acknowledge and you need to say it out loud to that person. Thank you for the support that you've given and your service for going above and beyond because A, Z, Y, whatever in between. Yeah. Some of the best workers that I haven't ever met are the ones quietly doing their jobs every day. They stay calm in a crisis. They help the people that we serve achieve brilliant goals. They show up consistently. And yet not one person says, thank you. And I can see like the double-edged sword of this debate that you're thanking somebody to turn up to work. But when you see somebody being really consistent, because consistency is one of the biggest killers in our sector because the turnover rate of support workers, and that means all that turnover that we get, the person that we serve has this really bad taste in their mouth because they feel like they're just going to pump through another support worker. We don't want that. We want consistent people. We want people to stay cool, calm, cool as a cucumber in a crisis, but also can help somebody achieve their goals. Recognition doesn't have to be fancy. Because when you are checking in on your support workers, it is acknowledging the things they've done and talk about what's happened. And, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. How did you get to this? Be curious what they're doing and how they did it, because that is learning from what they're doing that we can bring it to the rest of the team and help that person. Or when the support worker needs to take annual leave, we're looking for things in other support workers that have got the same skill sets to meet what the person we serve needs. This really does not take much. It is a simple, less than 2-minute conversation to see how you're going, what's up. I notice, how can I help? Is it, and like as a manager, how can you help? How can I help you to go further? What can I do for you? Because if, like I said, happy support workers do more. And ones that they feel safe in you. And that's where solution number 4 really does kick off, because I want to talk about protecting support workers' times. Every shift needs to be covered by the same person. So, sorry, I went blunt and said every shift, but we don't. And the reason why is that if we're not introducing new people into the mix, it makes it really difficult. When we become reliant on one support worker to service one participant, it means when the support worker is sick or when they go on annual leave, support workers have guilt there because they feel like, oh, there's nobody else to cover me. Who's going to do it? So our job is to make sure that we've got the next in line or working towards that and to expand somebody's opportunity. And I get that support worker is really consistent, but that support worker tomorrow can turn around and resign. They can. And it means that the person that we serve is without any support because there's no support worker in place. That's something we don't want, but that's something as a manager we need to build and think of opportunities where we can support. And not every weekend needs to go to the same support worker. Yes, I said it. I know there's some people really hungry out there that love the weekend stuff, but it shouldn't be every weekend. And people that are like hungry to want to do every sleepover, every active night, I get it. But their burnout and turnover rate is too high. We need to put things in place that it's done fairly, but also as a manager that is done fairly, so everybody gets an opportunity as well to have the same opportunities to do sleepovers and weekends. You cannot be reliant on the same people. And good rostering does protect people, because tired support workers eventually, they burn out and they leave. And that's what we don't want. So making sure that we have enough in the bank. And you're probably wondering, Sarah, why does this matter to me? Well, it matters because the more support workers we churn through, it means that the quality of care that the people that we serve are the ones that suffer the most, because they finally got a support worker that they liked. Some consistency started happening, and then the support worker resigns or they leave or something happens in between. And it means that the person we serve has to start over again. And that's not what we want. We want them to have consistency in their life. So they lose the most, the people that we serve, our NDIS participants, because great support work really is a relationship-based work. And when staff leave consistently, they just lose the trust or routine. Service becomes unstable. You don't become a provider of choice as well, because they don't see you as a provider of choice because you've been inconsistent with the support workers that you've been able to send to this person. So you're probably wondering now, guys, what is your final thoughts? Sarah, what is it? So if you're a support worker listening to this, I just want to say something very clear to you. You are a professional. Your work matters. The quiet moments matter. The small wins matter. and days that can feel like you're being unnoticed. And some of the most life-changing support in this sector happens far away from any boardroom or policies or any of that crap. It happens in someone's kitchen. It might happen in your car. It might be on community, out and about in the community. So if nobody says this to you recently, I want to say thank you. Thank you. I see you. You're an absolute professional. And if you're a manager listening to this, take this on board. And if this episode resonates with you, send it to another support worker, because the truth is this sector doesn't run without support workers. We are the biggest chunk of this sector, and sometimes the most unrecognized, or the ones that probably need the pick me up the most. And it's time to start talking honestly and openly about support work and people who supports everyone else. Thank you for listening to me talk about something that, has creeped up in my life. And I'll be honest, and I'm hand in my heart, I have definitely had support worker burnout. And I just want to say I see you and I acknowledge everything that's going on, just to keep up the good work. Bye for now, guys.